This is a response to Gary's video called "We Are Not the Same and Can Know the Differences," which is a response to one of my videos on morality. I think this is probably the last one I'm going to make in this last contribution to this morality thing. It's all over the shop, and quite honestly, this video made Gary is all over the shop as well, and I'm misquoted and misrepresented. So fuck it, really. But I'll go through this one, and then if I'm not clear by the end of it, we're just going to have to accept that, I don't know, something. Okay, point by point. You don't like the tone of it. I don't give a shit. I don't know what that means, really. You don't like the tone of my voice. You don't like my accent. You don't like. I don't know what that means. You don't like the tone of it. We're talking ideas here, yes or not? Anyway, tone. Who cares? Aren't moral choices all over the place, you say, and then you give us examples of voting, which certainly in my country is about every 3 years, and in your country is about every 4 years. Donating, yeah, I don't know about you, but I donate probably once every couple of weeks, tops. Buying potato chips versus helping earthquake victims. I can't remember the last time I was in a shop thinking, shall I buy these crisps or shall I help earthquake victims? I kind of have that as a general feeling occasionally, but I don't remember ever putting the crisps back, On the spur of the moment I buy crisps, on the spur of the moment I help an earthquake victim. It's a bit of a shame, but I think I'm not alone in that. So no, I don't think we are confronted by moral choices all over the place. I think we probably should be, and I think certainly a lot of the kind of consciousness raising that's going on around here, a lot of this stuff, should at least, I think, serve the purpose of obliging us to think about what moral choices we make accidentally, that we sleepwalk through, including perhaps buying potato chips rather than helping earthquake victims. So yeah, whilst we might be confronted with them all the time, or in theory, in practice, I don't think we are. Why do we have to talk about it, you ask? Why do we have to talk about it? Well, because like you said at the beginning of the video, Gary, these are the most important things. That's it's very uncomfortable to talk about. They raise all kinds of emotional responses, not just from oneself, from me in this case, but from listeners. But if you don't talk about it, then you sleepwalk. And what's the point of that? Okay, then you start going on to this rape gene stuff. This is where I'm feeling I'm being I don't know whether it's me you're talking about, but since I'm sighted here, I've got to qualify my position. Sorry, my dog's bothering me. Get down to you. I'll take you for a walk in a sec. The rape gene. There's no such thing as a rape gene. There is no such thing. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who's put that about. I've certainly never used the term rape gene. It's bullshit, really. I mean, I haven't. I know the arguments for rape in evolution. I know those arguments, and I laid out a couple of those arguments in the previous video. It doesn't mean I subscribe to those arguments. I don't think they're particularly compelling arguments, and I know the arguments against those arguments. None of those arguments are about genes, by the way, but they're about evolution. I don't find them particularly compelling, and I've said that several times, but for some reason we don't seem to be able to get off that. Okay, then you talk about this thing built into us, as if I'm saying that these things are built into us. I think I've gone to great lengths to say I don't think it's built into us. In fact, the very video that you're responding to, Gary, at some point in it, I say the words, it's not built into us. Or some words to that effect, at least. No, I don't think that's at all. Nor do I think that modern society is suppressing a desire to rape. No, I don't think that at all. I don't think anything like that. And no, I don't think that. No. In fact, that whole idea of a desire to rape is completely off the radar. This whole conversation, as far as I'm concerned, this isn't a conversation about whether men have got a desire to rape. It's about whether men have got a desire to have sex, and rape is one of the things that they do to achieve that. So there's no desire to rape. That is psychotic. There, I would completely agree to you. Anybody who has a desire to rape someone, particularly violence, but other kinds of rapes, is psychotic. Yeah, that's it's almost by definition. So no, the whole desire to rape thing is just crap, really. And then you talk about where I'm standing. You say I seem to be standing on the wrong side of the fence. This is the rape gene fence. you seem to be characterising this whole discussion where there's a bunch of people on one side of a fence, I guess people like Varioblast, maybe Amazing Atheist, and these people, in your scenario it seems, have got this idea that there's a rape gene, and it's in men, and it's waiting to come out, and you know, that kind of thing. And then there's the good guys on the other side of the fence, like yourself and Zomgits Chris and a bunch of other people, Ujima Flipper, who don't think anything like that. There's no fence. There's no bloody fence. I'm sorry, there just isn't. You know, I mean, it's bullshit science. It would be pointless to have that. It's an angels on the head of a pin conversation. There isn't a fence. There's no right side to it. There's no wrong side to it. There's no way to put the bloody fence. It's not the fence. So, yeah, it's I don't know what it's about really. And yeah, can't have nothing to say about that. All right, and then you go on to talk about moral dilemmas. You said there's no moral dilemma for you. I can't remember exactly the sentence that came out of. I guess we're talking about situations in which, yeah, it got really confusing here because it started off talking about rape and then went into violence and then went into war or military service and tolerance for violence, those kind of things. A bit confusing. There's no moral dilemma for you, you say, in that situation. Of course not, that's the point. That's exactly the point I'm making. There's no moral dilemma for you. And I would guess that in some situations, and again, I'm not talking about the desire for rape psychotic situation. I'm talking about the kind of situations that I think Thoughtful Atheist was referring to in his first video, although I never actually saw it, but from what I understand. Stupid men doing stupid things. Yeah, in those situations, my guess is that those people are not faced with a moral dilemma either. The point is they bloody well should be. I mean, the archetypal moment we're talking about here is not the lone psycho, the Bundy and the people that you mentioned. It's not the lone psycho plotting to go out and have really strange, violent sex with some woman and kill her afterwards. That's not the scenario we're talking about here. We're talking about the film The Accused. That's what we're talking about, that kind of archetypal situation. And the there isn't a moral dilemma. We know that, but the point of that scenario is that the men involved were never brought up short, and they should have been. Yes, they should have been. When they raped Jodie Foster over the pool table or whatever, over the pinball machine, you know, they should be facing a moral dilemma, but for some reason they weren't. And the whole "she was asking for it" thing falls out of that. Inability of them to recognise that they are in a moral situation, they need to make a choice. Just like, you know, and I'm really glad that that you're also not faced by moral dilemmas, and I wouldn't suggest for 1 second that kind of situation would arise in your life without you being around. But you know, quite frankly, for a lot of people, whether we like it or not, they don't recognise those situations, and the challenge for us as a society is to find a way to fix that situation, to educate whatever it is to do that situation so that moral dilemmas are presented and correct choices are made without just saying, oh, there's a bunch of broken people in the world, we can fix them. Because that's not going to work. Okay. Yeah, Hitler gene, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry you're offended, Gary. I don't know why you would be offended exactly. As I've said before, I'm not subscribing to the rape gene or the Hitler gene theory. I've never said there's anything inside people. I have said that put people in certain situations that you know it's unpredictable what you will do in certain situations. Maybe you are completely confident in that, and that's great. Personally, I wouldn't be that complacent, but that's fine. Although even though you said that you might fail because you're drunk or for some other stupid reason. Yeah. Unfortunately, people do get drunk and people do have stupid reasons. So that's about it, really. I mean, you're closing up this last bit about wife beating, which, you know, again changes the goalposts a bit. But you were saying there's a kind of glimmer of hope in there, which is to do with about philosophy. That these people didn't have the philosophy which inside them, which for me is that thing about, you know, presenting people with moral dilemmas. Yeah, I think probably all wife beaters are probably a bit psychotic, actually. I'm probably with you on that one. But Yeah, no, it doesn't really work. Yeah, I have to agree with you there. But just